Welcome to this episode of Chattin with Staxx. I'm your host, Bill Staxx, and today I got Larry Rolla.
Here's the deal. Let's say, for instance, in the first race tomorrow, uh, Cordero has the morning line favorite, and Baeza has the second choice, and somebody else has the third choice. You know all these guys. Yeah, I know them good. What would happen if you went to them three guys and said, I give you $5,000 each to be worse than third? He says, yeah, they would do that. I says, you sure? He says, yeah. He says, they send money back home to their family and this and that. They do. He says, yeah, they do that. For every one that you get, I give you $1,000. So just making this story up, you get three guys to be worse than third. You get $3,000 and I give you $15,000 to give to them. Yeah. Okay. Now that was make believe. Now this is for real. Every day you go to the jockey's room, right? He says, yes. Every day you know who you can talk to and who you can't talk to, right? Yeah, they're all your friends, right? Okay, go to the ones that you know you could talk to that are in gimmick races, meaning exactas or trifectas, and try to go get to the ones that are in short fields, meaning 8, 9 horses, 7 horses, and try to get 3 or 4 of them out of the race. Tops 4. If it's an 8-horse race or even a 10-horse race, you give the first and second choice favorites 5,000 each. The third and fourth choices, you give them 2,500 each. So now I'm investing $15,000 in money bribes to these jockeys. You got 4 of them out. That means you get 1,000 for each of these guys. So now you get 4,000. So now I have 19,000 invested in that race. Now I take the remaining horses in the trifecta, the other 4 or 5 horses, and box them for another $20,000. And all I'm looking to do is double my money. Most of the time it's a lot more than that. But if I invest a total of 30,000, I want to win a total of 60, 70, 80,000, which is easy because all the favorites are out of it. So all the money's still left in the pool.
Yeah.
So make a long story short, that's what we did. And I introduced Tony, who was still with me at Monticello, and I made Tony the middleman for a number of reasons. One reason is I couldn't stand being around him. He was just an obnoxious jerk who thought he was a big tough guy. Second is he was a loudmouth, and I try to buffer myself from being anywhere near him, and I put my runners to be with him. I couldn't deal with him, and uh, and he was just a loudmouth, bragging all the time, and I had to keep my friend Charlie with him almost all the time, so he wouldn't run his mouth. And we made a lot of money, and everything was going good. Everything was going great. We were making 30, 40, 50, 60,000 maybe every 2 or 3 days, and making a lot of money, doing well. And and then and then he's um, Shula, Tony Shula. He stopped. He's supposed to call me every day, 12 o'clock. Tell me what the numbers are, what to bet, and everything else. And he would bet at the racetrack, and I would bet at OTB or whatever. So from calling every day, then he started calling every other day, and then every third day, and then every fourth day. And then one time I tried looking for him. He checked out of the hotel where him and Khan had a room. So now they were just doing their own thing and shutting me out. But I couldn't allow that to happen because I had no way of making my payment every week. So that's when I started with the counterfeit money. When I told Charlie, uh, um, we got to start doing something. And he says, I know that there's a guy with counterfeit money. And anyway, that's how that whole thing happened.
Hold on, I gotta turn my air conditioner on, man. I'm having hot flash real bad. Hold on 1 second.
Go ahead.
Damn, that sweat poured dripping off me.
Why you got a turtleneck sweater on? You got a sweater like you're sitting outside.
No, this is a dress shirt.
Okay. All right. So anyway, so what happens? I get the counterfeit money, and that kind of fills the gap a little bit, but not for long. And Charlie tries to buy a car with some of the counterfeit money. Make a long story short, he gets arrested. He's in jail. Now he's up in Indiana or someplace in jail. So naturally, I go to see him one day, and he says, "There's somebody here I want you to meet." So he brings over this fella, Frank Collada. I don't know if you know who Frank Collada is, but Frank Collada is the guy that was with Tony Spilotro down in Vegas. The Chicago crew sent him down there. And that whole movie Casino is about Tony Spilotro.
Now, is this before Collada cooperated?
Oh yeah, it's before. Yeah, way before. So I'm at the prison there, and in Indiana, I think it was Indiana, and he tells me, I told my friend here all about it. So I meet Frank Collada, and he says, Charlie told me all about it. He said, I think I can help you. He says, but I don't get out for another week or a month, whatever it was. He says, but take my mother's number and call me in a month or whatever it was. So that's what I do. So he says, listen, he says, I'm on parole. He says, we got to go see Spilotro, but I'm not allowed to fly out because I'm on parole, but I'm going to do it anyway because he won't see you without me. So we fly out to California. We fly out to Vegas. We see Spilotro, and I tell him the whole thing. I'm fixing races at Aqueduct and Belmont, the biggest track. We can make millions of dollars, and Spilotro loved that because he was another sick degenerate. Not only that, but I think that year they opened the Stardust Hotel for sports betting and horse racing, and so they had a ton of bookmakers out there. So he was very interested, and sure enough, he sends 3 guys back with me. This Blitzstein guy or some guy 6.5 feet tall, big. Make a long story short, they find the guys. They find Tony Schuler and his guys, and they
Where were they?
They had to be kind of local. They just went to every hotel that was right around that area. They kept looking for him, and I sent Charlie with them, and they went to every hotel because they were dealing with Aqueduct and Belmont racetrack. And I'm not sure if Charlie, because I really never found out if Charlie, maybe they parked outside the stable gate at Belmont, and then they saw the car, and then they found. I'm really not sure how they found him, but they found him. And I also know that Blitzstein put a gun right through almost through the roof of Tony Schuler's mouth, and they said, and they just reminded him that you have to call me every day, and that's what happened. And I won't get into all the details, but I'm going straight ahead.
We'll save that for next time.
So that's what happened. And when Schuler would they stayed with Schuler as well as Charlie, and then I start making a lot of money again, and everything was good again. And after about 2 months, Spilotro's guys went back with a threat to them that he better keep calling me. And everybody made a lot of money. Frank Collada made a lot of money. In fact, Frank Collada, he called me up years later, and he said, remember that thing that we did in 74, 75? I says, yeah. He says, I'm writing a book. He says, you mind if I put that? I says, what do I give a fuck? I don't care. Put it in the book. So it's in one of his books, that whole situation. So So anyway, Spilotro made a lot of money. I made a lot of money. Everybody made a lot of money. Everybody was happy. They went back home. And sure enough, as soon as they left, 2 weeks later, Spilotro, Tony Shula pulls the same bullshit. Instead of calling every day, it's every other day, every other day. And sure enough, the same thing. He started running away. He started changing hotels. And I didn't have the time or the place the time to go chasing him.
And what was the reason he kept doing this?
Because he's a fat, greedy fuck. He wanted it all for himself, and he didn't want to. He just didn't. He's just a fat, bad guy, greedy, and that's why he did it. There was no reason for him to do it, but that's how he was. So, so what happened was things were really, really, really bad. And I heard that he was starting to fix races in Philadelphia. He was starting to fix races all over the country, and which I really didn't have any part of that. And I was in serious trouble. And it was about on a Wednesday, I really took hold and said, what the hell am I going to do? I don't have the money for this week. And
the payments are due Friday, right?
I had to go down I think I had to go down I think it was every Saturday or Sunday. I forget what day it was. But Gina handled Barney. I had to go down there. I forget what day it was. I think it was probably it might have been on a Sunday or Saturday. I'm not sure. I don't remember. But anyway, you got to remember we're talking 60 years ago, 50 years ago. I don't remember what day, but it was. I remember when I was paying, it was every Tuesday. I know that. But once the VIG payment started, I think we made it on a Saturday or Sunday on a weekend. I'm not sure. So anyway, so now I'm a dead man, and now I don't know what to do. Kabert don't want to hear nothing, even though at that point I paid him in the VIG every week. I think I was giving him $7,200 a week, his end of the VIG. Barney $7,200, and every week $7,200. He made double what I owed him, just in the VIG payments I was making. So I'm thinking, should I go try to make a deal with him or what? And then I get a call at the track one day, and it says, "I need to see you. Can you come to the Concord?" It was the maitre d' in the dining not the dining room, the showroom, the lounge. Concord had the biggest lounge. They had a bar that held, God, it was the biggest bar in the world. Big place. And great entertainment. And he became a good friend of mine. The guy at the front table in the showroom and the dining room and the lounge every night. And we became good friends. And he says, so I went to see him, and he says, I need a favor. There's some friends of mine from the old neighborhood that they're up here, and they can't get a room. And they came up here to see Natalie Cole. It was her first live performance. She was only
you told me this story before.
Okay, so then I don't have to go through that whole thing.
No, we already got that one.
So now I go through the whole Nicky Barnes thing, and that saved me for a couple of months. And after the Nicky Barnes thing ended, now I'm back because he got busted and everything. So now my whole thing ended. But it was at that time I was out of options, and I went to Gebert and I made a deal. And in my VIG payments every week, you got 3 times what I owe you. I says, now things are really bad. I says, and before I get busted where you're going to wind up with nothing, whatever I give you, let it come off the top. Whether I give you 500 or 5,000, let it come off the top. I got to get even with you. And he understood, and we made the deal. I made the same deal with Bonnie Cutler.